Everybody, 2023 Dodge Charger 5.7 heavy with a 6-speed manual transmission. And as you can see, the infotainment system's nice. It's got a nice gear shifter. It's got great seats, and it's got a nice sunroof with a nice sporty interior. I mean, listen to the burble. I mean, it just says it all. Now that's why us muscle car likers like our V8 engines, baby. I mean, just listen to it. It's a work of art. Antarctica can hear me. I mean, it just does. It never gets old. I've never heard a Tesla sound like that. It's got a nice chrome wheels. It's got a nice cool fuel gap. It's got a nice Dodge emblem on the back of it with cool reverse light. I like the classic look of this car. And really, those rims are giant. And one thing to keep note of those wheels, when you get a flat tire, the only thing is they'll cost a lot to fix, more than Steely's. And let me tell you, a 4-banger ain't gonna never be as smooth as a 8-cylinder 5.7 liter Hemi engine. Now these are screamers to drive. You got buttons for days on this thing. Sport, traction. You get to play with this stuff. You get to play with the gauge cluster. I mean, there are really things for days. Now, a lot of times, it's hard for me to use these things because my cars are all 24 years old, 20 years old. And, you know, you just get so much with these things. You get the media system for your cell phone. You get SD. You get Bluetooth. You get special heated seats, heated steering wheel. I mean, you get the Chrysler app. Really, you get a lot in this car. And, you know, I mean, it would be foolhardy for me to tell you that this thing's not got a killer sound system in it. And just the chrome on the gear shifter, everything is nice about this car. Everything. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the scan tools system and see what's going on with this car. And of course, because it's a brand new system, it's not going to have any problems. I mean, really. I mean, it would be nice if I wasn't so cheap and I would actually buy one of these things. But hey, we're still waiting on that one. And this is, this is a 2016 Dodge Challenger V8 with a 6-speed manual transmission and a 5.7 Hemi. Just listen to it. Just listen to it. Still to this day, I've never found a Tesla that sounds like that. Is this my vehicle? No, it's not my vehicle. See, I don't know why. Yes, this is my vehicle. Does this look like a Volkswagen? I mean, first off, the older system didn't take 1900. The new system didn't take 1937 years to load. I mean, really, will this system work? And, of course, the battery system's gonna work. All we need is live data. I don't know what the hell is going on with this Innova today. You saw the ABS system light came on, so it did that test perfectly fine. You know, tool library, you got everything on this, but that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking to have fun with a stupid scan tool. You know, we're looking underneath the hood of this thing. I mean, you know, you could go underneath this thing and count of all the things that are original. Now, of course, they're going to be original on a 37,000 mile car. You could just look It's so easy to get to things in this car. Now, the early Hemis had a problem where if they sat idling for too long, a lot of times the timing chain would get inappropriate wearage on the chain. But that's an old problem now. We're about to start moving in this thing. If I stick my arm out the window, guess what? The mooses in northern Canada are going to have some early food. Just listen to the V8 roar on this thing. It's only under 2,000 RPMs right now. Yeah.
It has a little lift when you punch it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, really, there's nothing like this that I've ever driven in. Let's see, that Prelude that I drove in a couple years ago, but hey, I think the exhaust was about 13 times louder than this, and it had about negative 13 times as much power, and it was about 17 times falling apart. So, as you see, we're driving on a really bumpy road, and this system doesn't have that horrible of a suspension on it. That Pathfinder that I had a couple years ago, hey, that suspension was falling apart, and it was louder than a locomotive when you hit bumps. A locomotive horn, too. In just a moment, we're going to be going on a little of an acceleration test. Search for cars, and make sure there's no Teslas in my way. I mean, there's nothing like it, baby. That throws you back in your seat a lot. It kind of feels like a roller coaster on wheels. So, and it's also a really smooth car, but then it feels like, yeah, then it feels like the Codsall in Boston when you hit the gas and it flies over a couple of waves. Hit the gas a little bit. I mean, come on, this thing's got balls, to say the least.
47.
And we're only going 47 miles an hour. You drop that clutch, it's like clockwork. Now, if this was older and it didn't have traction control, hey, you would drop that clutch and the rear diff would fly out of the thing. Owner just said to me that the battery of this thing's in the trunk, but you got to jump it up front. Thank God they put the battery up front, the jumper cables up front, because most people would say, how do they do it and pack with the trunk shut when if the battery dies, the trunk is not going to open because the battery's dead. I mean, really, it's an original exhaust, too. There's nothing like that 8-cylinder, really. You know, they did the disgusting thing is most recently Dodge decided to get rid of this engine, really, for the stupid electrical things that, first off, we have barely any infrastructure. It's not going to take 30 minutes to fill this thing up. You know why? Because you don't have to wait at a stupid charger station. And we'll see how the traction control holds up on this thing. This would be where if people would just move out of our way and we could see how that traction control works. And, you know, it's not bad at all. Still, you give it gas and it's not gonna... Yeah, it's got a good, strong clutch, too.
Good clutch.
Yeah. The owner just said it's got a nice little growl. It's not like that 8-cylinder Mustang that had an insane straight pipe. Loud, yeah, especially when it's got a giant straight pipe on it. Down in Myrtle Beach, a couple of guys in their 5-liter Mustangs. He said, see you later. And you know what happened? The Mustangs fell apart. And he just kept going. So with the bumps, a lot of times, like the Fords, the door panels are falling apart. And usually all you hear is that. And my mouth talking these.
I rented one of them. I didn't like them.
Yeah.
I didn't like
He
them.
just said he didn't. He rented
Chrysler 300, the Mustang, a couple other ones. These are.
So guess what?
Charger. I like these better than Charger.
And there is a honest person in a real life review going on right there. Hey, I don't want to know what he thinks about Teslas. Hey, sir, drive me home.
I rented one. I thought I was going to take off and start flying around.
And it didn't?
When my brother passed away, the football player,
yeah,
I rented one in Pittsburgh, and we ended up walking out of the car, but they unlocked it somehow through a...
I haven't done that enough. Nice clear tilting sunroof. And if you don't mind, let me see what it's got. It's got tube lights. They're not LCD. That's the only thing. God forbid they don't have LCDs, but that's the only thing. I mean, and it's also got an OnStar system, so if you're ever in a situation, all you got to do is press that 911 and it will call. But don't press it. It will call. You know, you got to usually press them a couple of times and then they'll call. And another interesting thing about that 911 system is
nice and tight.
Yeah, nice and tight. It will be nice and snug. But with the 911 system that these cars have, if these things ever get stolen, the police can actually shut these cars down from their system. But the police have to have a Dodge Charger system. And a lot of cops aren't going to have them because they're rear-wheel drive. Ryan, like, comment, and subscribe.